Hey, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honors, and glories due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kadash. Give double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Wild peace, blessings, and salutations to all my faithful Akim and Aquat that I listen and learn to you all and say Shalom. So this is going to be a video. I'm not responding to her video, so to speak, but I'm doing a land back off of her video because she goes into the whole cult behind, or not behind, but around Israel. Now, for as many of you that are new, there's something called the Judeo-Christian. There's a Judeo-Christian branch of Christianity where you have these evangelical Christians, right-wingers, more so, these right-leaning people who staunchly believe in violence, right? But they see themselves as less than inferior and look at the small as the chosen people, and that's what Christianity is all about. Because as she's gonna say in this video, she puts down several bulletin points. You got the assassination, the Rob's house, and the Balfour Declaration. She goes into many points about the whole Judeo-Christian cult that surrounds Israel and that protects it from receiving any backlash. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because I was thinking, Esau is mad at Jake, right? For the most part, because the country is failing. But they never have the gall to rise up against their own people, the head tribe of Edom, Amalek. And this goes back to them not having a birthright, because when you go into Genesis, the 36th chapter, right? Let's do that. Genesis 36th chapter. It goes into the sons of Edom. Okay, this is Genesis 36, verse 1. It says, "Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashemah, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nabayoth. And Ada, or Adah, bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemah bare Reuel, and Aholibamah bare Jeush and Jalem, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan." So I'm going to jump down to verse 10. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau; Reuel, the son of Bashemah, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. So Amalek is more so the grandson of Edom. Okay, he's the grandson of Edom, but the birthright fell upon him. Now, according to custom, right, when you go into Genesis, the 43rd chapter, and also I'm going to get First Chronicles. This is Genesis 43, verse 33. It says, "And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth, and the men marveled one at another." So the birthright always fell upon the oldest, or the firstborn. But Amalek being the grandson, the firstborn fell upon him. As it says when you go into Numbers, the 24th chapter. Let's go there real quick. Numbers 24 and the GNT. Yep. This is Numbers 24, and this is the prophecy of Balaam, right? He prophesied. This is Numbers 24, verse 20. Then in his vision, Balaam saw the Amalekites and uttered this prophecy. Amalek was the most powerful nation of all, but at the end it will perish forever. Now, when was that fulfilled? Because when you go into the biblical history, the Amalekites weren't that powerful back then in ancient times. That prophecy has been fulfilled now through the rebirth, the Renaissance. Okay? When you look at Daniel, right? Let's go to the book of Daniel. Daniel, and I'm going to type in the fourth beast. Who's at the forefront of that fourth beast? It's Amalek. Okay, the so-called small hats, as you call them today. And also, brothers have to be aware that you don't have to be so-called J-ish to be an Amalekite, because that lineage, that nation, that tribe of Amalek, they're out there. Okay, the Amalekites are out there. And you have a lot of Edomites that are Amalekites, right, of that head tribe, and they're not even Jewish. That's why they prosper. You see some families. I was watching the video History Meets Finance. That's the channel. And he was reviewing families that run on old money. And they had this Danish, it wasn't Danish, it was Dutch. This Dutch family that was Catholic, but they had old money. And they work with the small hats. So you got a lot of Amalekites that are not really of that religion, right? That weren't converted, okay? And, they prosper because why? That's the blessing that was given to them. But their end shall be that they shall perish forever. That's in the book of Numbers, the 24th chapter. So let's go to Daniel. Let me type in the fourth beast, KJV. See what comes up. This is Daniel 7, verse 23. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break in pieces, right? Break it in pieces, because the fourth beast, actually, let me go up. The one where it says dreadful and terrible. Daniel 7, verse 7 says, after this I saw in the night vision, to behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that was before it, and it had 10 horns. So that fourth beast that was dreadful and terrible was the Roman Empire. Now, when we go into history about the Roman Empire, it fell right around the time of 476 AD with the Germanic tribes taking it down. So the Roman Empire now that we are referring to would be that new revised Roman Empire. Excuse me. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, right, which is America, because that little horn is that tiny little empire, that time that it had. That's why I call it a little horn, because it had a little power compared to the Roman Empire, before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. So Daniel must have seen something that was totally bugged out. He didn't understand it, but we have the interpretation, the understanding of that prophecy, right? Because it has been expounded unto us through the apostles of Great Millstone, okay? So they have the means to prophesy and do all these different things, but on the left-hand side. And that's the upcoming of technology, AI, artificial intelligence. It's going to have him speak great things, okay? And he's going to blaspheme the Most High, the tabernacle, right? The saints. And eventually he's going to come up against them to tread them down. But Yahweh Bashim Yashai is going to be there for his elect. that makes me want to go into Revelation. I think it's the is that Revelation 12? No, I think that's Revelation 13. This is Revelation 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. That's the sea represents the people. So out of the people, right, came up an empire. That's what the beast represents. The beast represents an empire, a civilization, okay? And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns. Okay, so he had 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. So those 10 crowns would be those different kingdoms that he took down, okay, in the form of the European Union, how they came together, right? And they established, right, the Club of Rome. You can look that up. They established a new Roman Empire, the one that's way more advanced than the old one, because now they have that mouth that speaketh great things. And upon his head is the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and seat and great authority. So the lion, the bear, right? Because the bear, the feet represents the end of it, which is the Russians, because the Russians are going to be the ones to torch this empire. Also, them being the last of that Edomite empire, right? The lion represents Great Britain, okay? The 3 lions, the kingdom of Great Britain, and the dragon represents the Pentagon, which that's the seat. That's where the military power, the muscle, is administered right there in Pentagon in Washington D.C. Okay, so they have that great power. They all work together, right, for the renewal of the 4th beast, because they want to continue where they left off, where the Most High, threw down, as it says in the book of Malachi. Let me get that real quick. I will throw down, and he should call them the border of wickedness, whom the Lord has in the nation forever. Malachi 1 verse 4 says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord Yahweh has indignation forever. Okay, so they shall build, but I will throw down. And that's the current how do I say? That's the current timeline that we're in. Right now, the Lord is getting ready to throw down on Esau's empire and put it to rest for good. Okay, because as it says in Isaiah 14, right, where it talks about those kings, the scripture says that thou shalt not be joined in burial with them. Why? Because they won't have a chance to essentially, they won't have a chance to have their own kingdom. Not necessarily kingdom. They won't have a chance to have their own nation when Israel is established. All the kings lie. Let me get that. All the kings lie in glory. This is Isaiah 14 verse 18. It says, all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. So they're not going to be restored, essentially, in the kingdom of heaven. All other nations are going to be restored. They're going to have their land back, their people back, their joyful history, right? That culture that they had, a little bit of it, the food, but there's going to be some adjustments made. They're going to have to take upon our culture and learn of our history and learn of the rights and the sacrifices and all these different things. But it's a due process, okay? It's a process because it's not going to be done in one night. It's going to take thousands of years until they get it perfectly, all right? Now, there will be times when they will slip up and, they will mess up. That's where we come in, and we come in to judge them, to give, hey, you messed up on this, so here you go. That's where we come in, all right? That's what it means to be a ruler in righteousness. So from there, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and play this video. Oh, just going to the history real quick.
Hey, I'm Daniel, founder of Ridge, and every year we do something kind of crazy. This year, we're giving away a Lamborghini Storado, a Hennessy Velociraptor, a Ford Bronco, or $100,000.
Were, in a very real sense, pre-programmed or indoctrinated to receive that moment as the fulfillment of prophecy. And I'm going to prove that this indoctrination is still going on today. And if you're just now realizing how deep this goes, hit subscribe, like, and hype this video because we are to go even deeper. I want you to meet someone. He appears in an Israeli-produced documentary called Till Kingdom Come, a film examining the relationship between American evangelicals and the state of Israel. And I think the Israelis who made it knew exactly what they were capturing.
Every good thing we know, all the things we love about the Bible, they were given to us of the Jewish nation. Israel, their people, the Jews, are better than all of us. They're better than all of us. And you need to accept that.
That is Boyd Bingham IV speaking to children in his congregation at his church, Binghamtown Baptist Church in Middlesboro, Kentucky, telling the children of his congregation that the Jews are better than them. And he goes on.
This is where, with the kids, where we start our indoctrination. I know that's a strong word to use, indoctrination, that it gets such a bad reputation, but that's where it starts. That's where it started with me.
Where the indoctrination begins. He acknowledges the magnitude of the word indoctrination, but then doubles down and says that is where his support for Israel began as well. Later, Boyd's father, William Bingham III, says something else in a sermon at that same church, this time with a very important Jewish woman named Yael Eckstein sitting in the pews. Listen to this.
There's a battle on the way, and God is going to miraculously intervene. All the wealthy owners of the NBA basketball teams and the movie moguls and all those wealthy Jews you were with in Los Angeles. Many of them are not practicing Jews. Some of them are even atheistic. And their heart's going to be turned again to Israel, and the money's going to pour in, and then that...
that whole Judeo-Christian nonsense, because Christianity, all it is a shield for the small hats. They use that religion. They use you dumb people, right? You stupid crackers, you Edomites. Right, and you simple as Jason, all you other nations that are into that religion, they use all of you guys to forward their agenda. You donate money to them, think you're going to get a blessing, and you get nothing back. I guarantee you this is somewhere down in the South where most of them live paycheck to paycheck, where they come to church every Sunday to donate almost half of their proceedings to the state of Israel, to these Israelis, and they take their money and they jerk off with it, They don't care about you guys, and they don't care about the Messiah either, because in this same video, you have an Israeli who's the head of some type of organization over there. We're going to get to it. And she talks about every time she hears the word Jesus, right, she gets annoyed. She gets, like it's like nails on a chalkboard. So the jig is up, man. Esau's being made bare. The jig is up. Let's get that. And the ones who have been exposed the most are you small hats, because that's what's going to really piss them off. This is Jeremiah 49, verse 10. I'm going to get it in the NLT. Oh, the GNT. But I have stripped Esau's descendants completely and uncovered their hiding places so that they can no longer hide. All the people of Edom are destroyed. Not one of them is left. Oh, my goodness. So their descendants, right, especially the head tribe, they've been stripped, okay? They've been yanked, okay, of that covering that they have been using to lie and deceive right? Which is the same thing, lie and deceive, and to kill and steal, and to hoard up all these different resources all throughout the earth, hoard up the nations. For what? So they can get their blessing back. But they're not going to get their blessing back because it's going to fall upon deaf ears. As it says, when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High is going to rain that fiery fury, that bronze. I was going to say bronze fury because I was thinking about, the Dark Ages in Greece. That bronze fury, the Lord's going to put him in a pot and cook him, right? The Lord's going to put him in a pot, cook him, and have him smoke it. Okay. Let me get a few more scriptures, and I'm going to go back to where I was. I was in Revelation chapter 13. The Spirit moved from there. Let me go to Ezekiel. This is Ezekiah. Just playing. Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 36, verse 5. It says, I, the sovereign Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, which sovereign means free from any imposing restrictions, have spoken now in the heat of my anger against the surrounding nations, and especially against Edom. With glee and contempt they captured my land and took possession of its pastures. With gleeful contempt, and that's the Balfour Declaration, which he mentions in this video as well, the Rothschilds and the Balfour Declaration. With great joy have I presented you this land, Lord Rothschild. It's all according to prophecy. It's all according to prophecy, It's all according to prophecy, and that's a good thing because it just shows and exposes who you devils are. You're just fulfilling prophecy. And of course, right, they cast it out for a prey. They destroy the land through their abundance of decadence. All right, their abundance of decaying the land by not following the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why the Lord's going to put fire. All right, he's going to put the heater up, and he's going to put fire to that stew, and stir the pot. Isaiah the 34th chapter, and he's going to bathe, right, as it says, Isaiah 34 verse 5. My sword shall be bathed in heaven; it shall come upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So there you go. All right. Did I want to play more of this video? I had something that I wanted to get into. I'm going to read just a little bit of the chat GPT, right? I typed in, do Americans hate Israelis for using their country to fund the state of Israel? If by hate Israelis you mean resent or oppose U.S. support for Israel, then yes, there is a significant and growing portion of Americans who feel that way, but it will be inaccurate to say Americans broadly hate Israelis, and they give you the distinction, right? Israeli people, 53% of Americans had a favorable view, while 44% had an unfavorable view. Among Democrats, however, only 43% viewed Israelis favorably. Attitudes are substantially more negative for the government. In 2026, only 34% of Americans viewed the Israeli government favorably, while 59% viewed it unfavorably. And they talk about the U.S. military aid, right, where it says a survey found 33% of Americans thought the U.S. was providing too much military assistance to Israel, compared with only 8% who thought it was providing too little. Probably the 8% is the AIPAC people. Among Democrats, 49% said it too much. Young Americans are especially critical. In 2026, only 32% of Americans aged 18 to 29 viewed Israelis favorably, compared with 68% among those 65 and plus. There's also a broader issue behind what you're describing. Some Americans resent spending U.S. taxpayer money on foreign military assistance at all, especially when they believe the money should go towards domestic problems like healthcare and food and medicine. Pew found that Americans are much more supportive of foreign aid for food and medicine than for strengthening another country's military. So there you go. You people should be rising up in the streets, okay? Now I'm gonna go to, where is it? I'm gonna go to Exodus the 17th chapter, because you have to understand that Amalek, the reason why the Lord is going to destroy Amalek is because they have been the one nation that has always came up against us. All right, Amalek, Moab, Ammon, okay, and even Ishmael with the slave trade. Okay, so this is Exodus 17, and I'm gonna start at verse 8. It says, "Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses said unto Joshua, Choose us out men, and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the rod of the Most High in my hand." So Joshua did as Moses had said unto him, or said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses and Aaron and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took the stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side and the other on the other side, and the hands were steady until the going down of the sun. I'm going to read that part in the NLT so we can get more understanding. It says, Moses' arms soon became so tired he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on. Then they stood on each side of Moses, holding up his hands, so his hands held steady until sunset. As a result, Joshua overwhelmed the army of Amalek in battle. After the victory, the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshai, instructed Moses, "Write this down on a scroll as a permanent reminder and read it aloud to Joshua. I will erase the memory of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar there and named it Yahweh Nasah, which means the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai is my banner. He said, "They have raised their fist against the Lord's throne." So now the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai will be at war with Amalek generation after generation. Okay? So just because of that little act right there, the Lord has sworn he's going to have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Okay? And that's the number one nation that the Lord hates. You know, and also, see, there was also an account when the Edomites, right, when we were leaving the Holy Land, they came out and fought against us, and they were slaying the what's it called, the old people, the sick, the ones that were lagging behind. So what do you think the Most High is going to do to the head tribe that has been funding these wars and genocides and pestilences that have been putting our people under feet, trodden them underfoot? What do you think he's going to do to them? He's going to fucking destroy and demolish everything that they have worked for, okay? So let me go to this precept right here, 1 Chronicles, the 5th chapter. And the reason why I'm reading this out is because you got to understand what it means to be the head tribe, okay? This is 1 Chronicles 5, verse 1. "The oldest son of Israel is Reuben, but since he dishonored his father by sleeping with one of his father's concubines, his birthright was given to the sons of his brother Joseph. For this reason, Reuben is not listed in the genealogical records as the firstborn son. The descendants of Judah became the most powerful tribe and provided a ruler for the nation, but the birthright belonged to Joseph." And ultimately, the birthright actually fell upon Judah. Okay, when you go to Psalm 78, verse 68, okay, start verse 67. "Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion, which he loved." Okay, so the Lord chose the head tribe of Judah to put his name upon, right? And to have the Messiah come through what? Through the loins of the tribe of Judah, through what? Through David. Okay, Dawadah. And he came out of the tribe of Judah. All right. So just like how Judah got their ass kicked the worst, Amalek is going to have one hell of a ball in their own kingdom, but they're going to have it the worst when all hell breaks loose, when it's time to put chains upon them. They're going to have it the worst because why? They're the head tribe of Edom, and they're the ones that have been funding all this chaos all throughout the world. Let's get that in the book of Revelation. Then I'm going to close it. This is Revelation 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And they killing one another, also our people and the other nations. And they're doing a great job of it. And they're going to continue until they achieve their so-called agenda, or their so-called kingdom that they want. Their so-called kingdom that they so pleasantly desire. But the Most High is going to reign upon it while he is eating. He's going to disturb their plans. All right? Like I said, stirring up the pot. Okay? He's making that mixture. And it's red. And all the nations are going to drink of it. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, honors, and glories due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakadash, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of the millstone. Wide peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect out there. I'm going to see if I can put this video in the description box. Shalom.